Harry Styles has announced that his new album will be called Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally, which was also the original slogan for Molly.
A judge has ruled that Luigi Mangione will not face the death penalty unless he has a pre-existing condition.
President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who I think played Lube Man in Watchmen. This week, a documentary about Melania Trump debuted in theaters. It's titled Wicked for Real. IBM announced that it has created the world's smallest and most powerful microchip. Not now. In a new interview, President Trump said that Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's days are numbered, as opposed to Trump, whose days are lettered. A Utah man was arrested after he got into an argument and hammered an ice pick through the other man's penis. But hey, it's like they say, never bring a penis to an ice pick fight. Greece has elected its first ever female president, and of course, the country is already falling apart. A vintage airplane will soon be installed at JFK Airport and turned into a cocktail lounge, while at LaGuardia, it's now boarding at Gate 32. In that op-ed, Kavanaugh vowed that he would be a, quote, open-minded judge. And I actually think he will be open-minded because you've got to be pretty open-minded to try a devil's triangle.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. The Wall Street Journal is calling on Russia to release one of their journalists who was arrested on espionage charges, and I might have the perfect idea for a prisoner swap. Former President Trump was arraigned on Tuesday, and a photographer released this photo of Trump in the courtroom, and I don't like that he's flanked by an OJ amount of lawyers, because that tells me he's definitely guilty and that he's definitely getting away with it.
After a recent chemical spill in the Delaware River, Philadelphia officials say the city's drinking water is finally safe, unless it's being handed to you by this Philadelphian. You guys don't like safety precautions? Cup Noodles has introduced a new breakfast version of their instant ramen that mixes the flavors of sausage, maple syrup, pancakes, and eggs. The flavor will be called Mom Left.
Trump's lawyer, Joe Tacopina, a.k.a. Phony Soprano, said he doesn't think Trump is going to get a fair trial in Manhattan, and I agree. I mean, even the courtroom sketch artist seems to hate him. I thought Trump looked perfectly nice. He had blended his foundation, stapled down his hair, but then he drew him like the mud monster from Scooby-Doo.
The New York City Fire Department rescued 5 children who got themselves lost in the Staten Island sewer system. Well, it's hard to believe that a place that filthy and disgusting also has a sewer system. Build-A-Bear has introduced a new RuPaul doll, and honestly, after a few beers, I would. After his arraignment, Donald Trump spoke to supporters at Mar-a-Lago and said there was a very dark cloud over our beloved country, which is also what he used to call Obama. Insiders are saying that since Donald Trump's indictment, his daughter Ivanka has been absent, and his other daughter Tiffany is trying to take her place by his side just as soon as she gets through security. I like this crowd a lot, man.
Yeah, me too. Agreed. An 89-year-old Japanese man has been recognized as the oldest male surfer ever. He truly embodies the surfing lifestyle because every part of his body hangs loose.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, seen here shouting, "Jump, you coward!" visited New York to protest the arrest of Donald Trump and called the city filthy, disgusting, and repulsive. But as a New Yorker, let me just say, you forgot rat-infested. Don't forget our rats, Colin.
That's right. Never. Apple has launched a new feature called Pay Later that lets users spread out payments for apps over the course of 6 weeks. And this has also launched my new favorite insult, Yo Mama's so poor, she put Candy Crush on layaway.
Don't forget our rats, Colin.
That's right. Never. A new report claims that for decades, Clarence Thomas and his wife went on luxury trips paid for by Republican mega donor and whitest guy with the blackest name, Harlan Crow. New York City is expected to end the winter with the lowest snowfall on record. You lying son of a bitch. New York City officials announced that they will stop calling the city's park bathrooms comfort stations and will instead call them the more accurate stank shacks. Because Justice Thomas handles gifts from Republicans the same way he handles Supreme Court cases, with no questions asked. It was also reported today that Harlan Crow has a vast collection of Nazi memorabilia, including a copy of Mein Kampf signed by Hitler. Worse, the signature reads, "Dear Harlan, big fan."
The first legal marijuana dispensary owned by a woman has opened in Queens, New York. Unfortunately, they had to shut down because she couldn't open the weed jars on her own.
So dumb.
Tennessee Republicans expelled 2 black lawmakers for protesting gun violence, but did not expel a white lawmaker who protested with them. Republicans said they know what it looks like, but they were actually expelled because their skin is black.
Doctors in Nepal saved a man after he inserted a water glass into his rectum for sexual gratification and it got stuck. But I think the man actually felt positive about the experience because he said the glass was half full.
Apple is saying that COVID in China has led to a slowdown in iPhone production. Wow. So I guess the new variant does affect children.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who always looks like someone told him to go home and get his shine box, signed a bill that allows Florida residents to carry concealed guns without a permit because Florida is dangerous and you just never know when someone is going to run up to you and say gay. A sperm donor in the Netherlands who allegedly fathered more than 500 children is being sued for increasing the risk of accidental incest among the kids. Accidental incest is also the title of the worst American Pie sequel. Well, guys, it's April, and that can only mean one thing, the celebration of short men that the internet has dubbed Short King Spring.
President Biden called King Charles this week to tell him that First Lady Jill Biden will attend his coronation, along with her +1, the Iowa women's basketball team.
King Charles said that researchers will be given access to royal archives after it was discovered that his ancestors had shares in a slave trading company. Yeah, it was called England.
Archaeologists in Egypt have discovered a tunnel that they think leads to the long-lost tomb of Cleopatra. Cleopatra is, of course, the enchanting queen who seduced both Mark Antony and Julius Caesar. I assume because she's really funny or something? Grand Floridian.
It's a great earring. A new study finds that the average child throws a tantrum 4 times a week, weeknights on Fox. In the wake of the classified document scandal, representatives for Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama issued statements saying they all turned over all classified records before leaving office, while Jimmy Carter issued a statement saying, "Come and get 'em, you bastards."
Rupert Murdoch's engagement to Anne Leslie Smith has been called off, apparently. She got cold feet after Murdoch passed his physical. In a new documentary, Pope Francis praises the virtues of sex, calling it one of the beautiful things that God has given to the human person. Not the way I do it.
A woman in Delaware won $400,000 after hitting back-to-back lottos in the same day. But the woman says she's still going to keep her day job, forging lottery tickets. The U.S. Air Force is denying that its pilots intentionally flew a flight path that created a giant penis pointed at Russia. Even worse, they then fired missiles.
Am I right, Colin?
Okay. I hope not. I don't know. A woman who's been traveling the world says she's gone on 34 first dates in nearly 20 countries. Her secret? She's being sex trafficked. On Christmas. The Los Angeles Zoo announced that Evelyn, a 46-year-old gorilla famous for her red hair, has been euthanized. Not because she was sick, but because it's LA and she was in her 40s. A new app called Greet Her is designed to help women travel alone safely by providing people to greet them when they arrive at airports or hotels. And it's being used for murder. Tomorrow is the New York City Marathon, or as Fox News will report it, undocumented Africans went wild in streets of New York.
Herschel Walker responded to Barack Obama criticizing his qualifications to be in the Senate by saying, "Put my resume against his resume." Fine. So here's Obama's resume, and here's Herschel Walker's. A Virginia man who pranks people for YouTube videos was shot while tricking someone in a mall. Good. A 106-year-old woman in the Philippines has become the oldest Vogue cover model ever, beating the previous record of 29. A lawyer for Mike Pence says that after they discovered classified documents in his home, Pence stands ready and willing to fully cooperate. Incidentally, I stand ready and willing to fully cooperate is also what Pence says before sex. During the Senate hearings investigating Live Nation and their monopoly on concert ticket sales, fans of Taylor Swift protested outside the Capitol. Oh, that's sweet. And only 2 years after their dads were there.
A Jeopardy contestant this week was forced to quit social media after people said his mustache looks like Hitler's. The contestant said he's so mad that he's had it up to here. Senator Rick Scott, seen here learning that Harry Potter has fallen into his trap, announced that he is running for re-election, promising to finish the border wall and name it after Donald Trump, even though most things named after Donald Trump are complete failures.
NASA has named the 4 astronauts it will send on the Artemis II mission to the moon, and if things go wrong, I think I know who's dying first. Oh, he could do the Hitler salute now?
And don't gif it. A 23-year-old Chihuahua in Ohio named Spike has been officially named the world's oldest living dog. The secret to Spike's long life? A lot of Chihuahuas look the same. Chipotle has announced plans to hire 15,000 people to prepare for its busiest time of year, which they are calling burrito season. And toilets are calling the apocalypse. Well, just like everybody else, President Biden's New Year's resolutions fell apart in the third week of January. The Supreme Court struck down his vaccine mandate, the voting rights bill got blocked, and his approval rating is so low, it's gone into power save mode. But I will point out there was another president who had a disastrous start to his first term, yet he became an inspiration to generations of Republicans even to this day. I'm talking, of course, about Jefferson Davis, President of the Confederacy. And there are still statues of him in 10 different states, which, come to think of it, probably explains why the voting rights stuff isn't working out. The bottom line is, I think Biden just needs more time. He might be more of an acquired taste. Unfortunately, most Americans recently lost their sense of taste.
President Biden gave a speech in Atlanta where he called on the Senate to pass 2 voting rights bills, saying, "I am tired of being quiet." And to prove it, he took a 20-minute standing nap. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, seen here losing the battle with his breakfast burrito, criticized President Biden's speech on voting rights, calling it beneath his office. Coincidentally, beneath his office is also where McConnell buries the homeless men he hunts for sport.
Fun fact. Republicans are being criticized for blocking the voting rights bill, but of course Republicans don't want voting rights because if voting was fair, they'd lose. It's the same reason I keep my basketball hoop lowered to 8 feet. Because with the help of a small ladder, I can dunk. But if there's any silver lining to voter suppression, it's that we'll never have to hear Republicans try to appeal to black voters. Because no one wants to hear Ted Cruz say for shizzle. Frankly, no one wants to hear me say it either, but it's too late. It's already a gift.
Leader of the Oath Keepers, Stuart Rhodes, has been arrested and charged with seditious conspiracy in connection with the January 6th attack. But I don't know. He looks pretty remorseful. Hopefully he can patch things up. No, that wasn't an eye joke. I was being genuine. Rhodes is being accused of messaging his right-wing group with instructions on how to use force to attack the Capitol. Authorities knew the messages were from Rhodes because they all began with "Dar, matey." That's not what that was. That wasn't an eye joke.
It wasn't an eye joke.
No, it wasn't an eye joke.
During a Senate committee hearing, Dr. Anthony Fauci was heard on a hot mic calling Senator Roger Marshall a moron. Replied Marshall, "Hey, what's that word mean?"
Pope Francis said this week that getting vaccinated against COVID is a moral obligation, especially since priests work so closely with kids. That wasn't an eye joke.
Delta Airlines said that this winter's COVID surge cost them more than $400 million in canceled flights after 8,000 employees caught coronavirus, which would never happen to Spirit Airlines employees because when you fly Spirit, they keep the windows open. Robert Durst, the New York real estate heir who murdered his friend and dismembered his neighbor, has died in prison. Durst will be remembered as New York's 4th worst real estate heir.
The late Maya Angelou has become the first black woman featured on The Quarter, which is not what black people mean when we demand change.
Google is claiming that Apple's practice of using blue bubbles in their iMessage app to highlight other Apple users leads to peer pressure and bullying of Android users. While Apple says Android users could easily solve the problem by not being so dumb and poor. Prince Andrew, who faces charges of sexual abuse, has been stripped of his royal duties by Queen Elizabeth. It's an unprecedented case of an adult stripping Prince Andrew.
You have me at royal duties. Domino's is reducing the number of chicken wings included in their meals, and I really wish I'd known that before I had my delivery guy fired for stealing.
A man in Virginia is being called the greatest Uber driver ever after he and his teenage passenger got stuck in a snowstorm and he got a hotel room so she would be safe. Coincidentally, the worst Uber driver ever also brought his teenage passenger to a hotel room.
A lesbian bar in New York City is now offering on-site COVID tests for customers. They plan to use a much less invasive technique where they sort of just grind around the outside.
Taco Bell, well, this is a terrible transition. Oh, God. Taco Bell has introduced a subscription service that lets users get one taco every day for $10 a month. which kind of sounds like an insult in a rap battle. This bitch so fat, he got a subscription to tacos. President Biden marked the end of his first year in office with a 2-hour press conference, because that's how long it took to list everything that's gone wrong. It was actually the longest presidential press conference in history. But as I have been told many times before, just because you went for a long time doesn't mean you did a good job.
Senate Republicans lined up to shake Kristen Sinema's hand after she voted against changing the filibuster to pass voting rights. The U.S. Senate, keeping black folks down with a quiet handshake since 1787. Senator Bernie Sanders suggested that he supports replacing fellow Democrats Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Damn, Bernie, stabbing your own co-workers in the back? That's unforgivable. I would never suggest Colin should be fired, no matter how much better I think Bowen would be.
Several Trump White House staff members told the January 6th committee that if Trump made an unscripted statement in the middle of the attack, he would have made the situation worse. And I think that's a pretty sound argument. No one has ever been like, you know who would be perfect to de-escalate this situation? Donald Trump. Like, if he was trying to talk someone off a ledge, he'd be like, don't jump, even though your wife left you like a dog. And this would be the perfect way to get back at her.
On his first day in office, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin signed an executive order banning the teaching of critical race theory, which really isn't that surprising coming from a guy who dresses like Leo in Django Unchained. A new study shows that the COVID vaccine does not cause infertility in men or women. Damn it, why did I get this?
This week, Britain's most eligible bachelor, Prince Andrew, officially deleted his Twitter account after he realized that's not the app with all the dancing teenagers. M&M's announced that they've redesigned their iconic M&M characters after people requested that the brown M&M not look like a teacher who has sex with her students.
In a new documentary, an ex-girlfriend of Prince Andrew describes Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell as Batman and Robin. Come on, what does Batman and Robin have in common with a billionaire that grooms teenagers?
Gen Z icon Kyle Rittenhouse is petitioning the court for the return of his rifle so he can destroy it. I don't know, careful, Kyle. Trying to get your memorabilia back is how they finally got OJ. In a new interview, Bono reveals that he never liked the name U2, adding, I also kind of hate Ireland.
Actor John Voight recently released a video claiming that Abraham Lincoln's spirit was guiding Donald Trump. Hopefully not to a theater.
A longtime director of Wheel of Fortune has died at the age of 92. Said Wheel of Fortune viewers, wow, so young. Amazon announced that their new Lord of the Rings TV series will be called Rings of Power, though I'm personally more excited for the spin-off Gollum in Paris.
Officials in Hong Kong announced that after some hamsters in a pet store tested positive for COVID, they had to kill more than 2,000 of the pets. Okay, but they didn't have to do it in front of the class. Yeah.
A man in Canada stole an $8,000 guitar by hiding it in his pants. Police caught the man when he got an erection, and it sounded like this.
Scientists have trained a goldfish to drive a car. They believe it's the first step to eventually training women.
Dwayne Johnson said that a skull of a T-Rex seen behind him during a recent interview was a replica and not the real thing. Johnson also said it's just a coincidence that his diet calls for 1,000 pounds of dinosaur meat a day.
The oldest living person in the United States died this week at the age of 115. It's a powerful reminder to always test your cocaine for fentanyl.
Well, the stock market is plummeting, and there's a threat of a land war in Europe. So it looks like Democrats were right. Joe Biden is the next FDR. President Biden is working to prevent a war between Russia and Ukraine and said a video call with European allies went, quote, very, very, very well. Okay, the third very worries me. You only say that when you're trying to cover up something. Like if Matt Gaetz said, that girl was very, very, very over 18. Ukrainian officials are saying the repeated warnings of invasion are just causing panic, and that panic is the sister of failure, which is exactly what Lauren said to get us to do this show during a blizzard. Also, am I wrong? I thought Ivanka was the sister of failure.
Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer announced that he will retire in June. We thank Justice Breyer for years of upholding the rights of every American, said liberals who have been tweeting, retire, bitch, for the last year. I sympathize with Breyer because I get those same tweets every Saturday night around this time. President Biden promised to nominate the first black woman to the Supreme Court, but I hope it's not because he wants to sniff a new type of hair. That's why I get those tweets. Senator Mitch McConnell, seen here learning that Betty White has died, warned President Biden not to outsource his choice for the Supreme Court to the, quote, radical left. Coincidentally, a radical left is also what McConnell takes to purposely run over stray dogs.
Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin has set up a hotline for parents to report schools they believe are teaching critical race theory. Damn, you know you're racist when you call the cops about a black character in a book. Yeah, hi, I'd like to report a suspicious black man rafting with a young white hostage.
President Biden on Friday traveled to Pittsburgh and promised to rebuild the collapsed bridge using funds from his infrastructure bill, while Republicans feel the bridge should just lift itself up by its bootstraps.
A new report shows that last year the U.S. economy grew at its fastest rate since Ronald Reagan was president. Biden has even started using Reagan's old catchphrase, where am I?
It's good.
3 items put up for auction by Melania Trump failed to reach the opening bid of $250,000. But Melania is no stranger to finding out something isn't worth as much as she thought. Peloton is concerned after the TV show Billions became the second series in recent weeks to show a character having a heart attack while using their exercise bike. And they're extremely worried about how they factor into season 2 of Squid Game.
Items from the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg's personal library are being auctioned off. They're selling the books and the desk, but to honor Ginsburg's legacy, they're going to hang on to the seat for way longer than they should. The horse that I'll put on the glasses for this one. The horse that played Seabiscuit in the 2003 film has died at the age of 24. So let's pour one out for a legend. Go to bed. I don't know.
The creator of Full House is selling his Beverly Hills mansion, which was built on the site of a Manson family murder. Wow, it is crazy to think that house has connections to a sick, twisted criminal. I'm sure she's fine. McDonald's has introduced a new sandwich that combines beef, fish, and chicken that they're calling the land, air, and sea. Wait, is air the chicken? Does McDonald's think chickens fly? Or do they think this is a chicken?
A new study of female bottlenose dolphins suggests that their clitoris can experience pleasure during sexual stimulation, but sadly, their fins can't reach.
It was announced.
Do you get it?
Yeah, they got it. It was announced. It was announced that Mountain Dew's Baja Blast is being converted into a new alcoholic seltzer, which is then being converted into your third DUI.